Part 12. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Jonghu Buletin. Chapter 111. On the day of the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the opening of the handsome sausage factory, many big leaders came, including various leaders from Qinglu City and the county magistrate of Dongguo County. Before, Xietingzhou could not build the factory without the help of these people. Everyone was able to quickly approve Xietingzhou's application, and they all approved it quickly. The investment that the child brought from other provinces was given to his family. How could they not cooperate? As for why the ribbon was cut today, it was to let the media capture the lively scene of the entire handsome sausage factory. On the huge red booth, Xietingzhou, Jin Lingyuan and many leaders stood there, and below were all the workers in the factory and the villagers of Shijia village. This recruitment was completely targeted at the entire Qinglu city, so it was a real help to the hometown enterprises. Today is the official opening day of our handsome sausage factory. Xietingzhou said the words of the new factory opening. At this time, the suit he was wearing was still the one Jin Lingyuan had chosen for him before, which made this man look even taller than Jade. He didn't look like the director of a sausage factory at all, but like a big star coming to cut the ribbon. Jin Lingyuan also changed into a red tube-top dress today. Standing next to Xietingzhou, she was full of aura, giving people a feeling of a golden boy and a jade girl. Red is a happy color, and she also hopes to bring a good omen to the factory. After many leaders finished speaking, a red silk was pulled over, and then everyone had a pair of scissors in their hands, shouting congratulations to the handsome sausage factory on its official opening. The scissors cut the red silk, and firecrackers rang, officially announcing the rise of a new generation in Qinglu City. In the days to come, no one expected that Qinglu City would become a place for all kinds of delicious food to be delivered, and there were countless food processing factories, which were directly exported to foreign countries. It can be said to be a top food guide. The people in Shijia village also cheered. Who wouldn't cheer for such a talent? Now that everyone in the village has a job and doesn't have to go out to work, who wouldn't be happy? What's more, it has 5 insurances and 1 fund like those iron rice bowls, so everyone worked harder. After all, everyone cherishes such a hard-won job opportunity. This is the best return from Xietingzhou to their hometown. On the day of the successful ribbon-cutting ceremony, the news that #handsome sausage returned to his hometown to build a factory directly rushed to the hot search. After opening it, there were photos of Xietingzhou and others cutting the ribbon. Among the leaders gathered, Xietingzhou's outstanding face was comparable to a star, so it also attracted the attention of many netizens. You don't know until you see it, you will be shocked when you see it. A young man from Shijia village, Dongguo County, Qinglu City, was admitted to Shangjing University of Finance. After that, he started a sausage business in his junior year. After appearing on the show, he said that he wanted to give back to his hometown and let the people in his hometown live a good life. Now he really did it. He actually returned to his hometown to build a factory, and it was successful. For such a successful business of young people, everyone is naturally happy to hear about it, especially netizens who have eaten handsome sausage, and they left messages every minute at this moment. Aquamarine, woo woo woo, so touched, I will definitely support handsome sausage in the future, I declare that the handsome guy's sausage is the eternal god. Huang Pushiniu, am I the only one who has eaten hundreds of handsome guy's sausages in a row and is tired of it? Handsome guy, please develop new sausages, I want other flavors. Midnight, conscientious students, conscientious schools, and finally conscientious handsome guy's sausages appeared. The smiles of the villagers in these videos are so simple, they are really happy. Some netizens even popularized the impact of a place having a factory with 10,000 people. At least you can see with your naked eyes that 10,000 families will have jobs and can support their families. This is the best feedback to the hometown. Not only that, the official various Blue V Weibo even forwarded the opening publicity of the handsome sausage factory, and then brought out the praise of hashtag successful but not forgetting hometown love and giving back to the hometown with a pure heart hashtag. Not only that, there are also words like hashtag successful but not leaving hometown, fame but not forgetting fellow villagers hashtag. It is almost exaggerated, but it also makes everyone see a message, that is, Sietingjo is now listed as an enterprise to be supported by the higher authorities. Several hot searches have been launched, not only Sietingjo but also Shangjing Finance and Economics College. After all, they also have investments, so naturally they are praised in every way, especially when Sietingjo said that the money for building the factory came from the school's entrepreneurial loan and the loans from teachers. How many students were moved again, and how many students who are about to enter the third year of high school in the new year immediately set their sights on Shangjing Finance and Economics College? For a young entrepreneur like Sietingjo who started from scratch, if he did not study at Shangjing Finance and Economics University, what would it matter if he developed a delicious sausage? There is no chance for subsequent development, no chance to start a company, let alone build a factory, so the key is to get into Shangjing University of Finance. It can be said that Shangjing University of Finance will become the school that students want to apply for the most this year. After all, Sietingjo, the senior, demonstrated what it means to start from scratch and what it means to have a teacher-student relationship. The school supports you when you start your own business, and the teachers lend you money and let you open a factory. Is this something that ordinary teachers can do? Not only that, netizens quickly uncover Jin Lingyun's identity. Mingyu, yeah, I just want to say, am I the only one who discovered that the girl in the red dress is the only eldest lady of the Jin group, that is Jin Lingyun, the only heir to Jinmin Yugui? There is no way. Father Jin has taken Jin Lingyun to various occasions before, all of which were official occasions, so this magical young lady is naturally well known by netizens, and the relationship between Jin Lingyun and Sietingjo in the video, the intimacy is visible to the naked eye, and anyone can tell that the two of them have a close relationship. So, what is the relationship between these two people? Just when netizens were curious, photos secretly taken in the forum of Shangjing University of Finance and Economics were posted. Cute creature lazily, woohoo, some people are talking about Miss Jin. Before Mr. Xie started his own business, the two had made their relationship public, the wealthy young lady and the poor nobleman, woohoo. Now that Senior Xie has successfully started his own business, he is considered to be in the right position. Photo. The photos released are the photos of Sietingjo and Jin Lingyun kissing on Cherry Blossom Avenue. The pictures are beautiful and look like posters for TV series, but anyone who has seen them has to say that they are indeed a perfect match for each other. People's looks match each other very well, and the gentle look in Sietingjo's eyes as he looks at Jin Lingyun can be felt at just one glance. In this regard, Jin Dexuan received many calls from good friends. Before, Jin Dexuan helped Sietingjo investigate some information that no one knew. Now the news is flying all over the sky. Seeing that Kinman Yugui has been on the hot search, everyone naturally knows about it. Lao Jin, you have found a good son-in-law. He is good looking and has good conduct. Please bring him out to everyone to see him later. They have been friends in the business field for many years. They didn't realize it before. Now that they see Sietingjo soaring into the sky, everyone understands that Lao Jin likes the son-in-law and even supports him. Otherwise, how could he arrange his daughter there? Planting a remote area to help others. A casual investigation revealed that Jin Dexuan had sent money and some news to Sietingjo before. Okay, when he and Lingyun arrive in Shangjing City later, let's have a casual meal together, Jin Dexuan agreed with a smile. Just from his voice, you could tell how satisfied he was with his son-in-law. It has only been 4 months at most from the appearance of handsome guy grilled sausage to now, but Sietingjo has completed the stage from starting with nothing to now making daily profits. In 4 months, the money after investment can be returned, and it can still profit. This is already very powerful. If we go back, our future is limitless. After hanging up the phone, Gu Tingyun looked at her cheerful husband and joked. Are you really satisfied with this son-in-law? Look at your smile. Jin Dexuan didn't quarrel with his wife, he just raised his eyebrows. Aren't you dissatisfied? It's rare to see such a boy with good conduct, good looks, and good aura for us. As he said this, he could be said to like Xie Tingzhou very much, and Gu Tingyun also nodded. That's true, my daughter has always had good taste, and this time is not bad either. This child's excellence alone can make up for the family's situation. Besides, I heard Lingyun say that her family members are very kind to Lingyun. It seems that she is good family. Parents who raise their daughters want their daughter to be happy most. Now that their daughter has found a good man and is an excellent child, the two of them are naturally very satisfied. In a club in Shangjing City, Pu Hongyi and Ye Yuking both saw the hotly searched news about Xie Tingzhou and Jin Lingyun. Seeing the netizens saying that the golden boy, the talented girl and the beautiful girl were made for each other, they felt happy for Jin Lingyun. Yes, just seeing an empty seat, both of them were speechless. Miao Tongtong tried to steal other people's prescriptions before but failed. Now she knows that this handsome guy's sausage sales are so popular. I heard that he has made at least tens of millions. He recently suffered a heart attack and is afraid that the Jin family will cause trouble. Now he don't dare to come. Ye Yuking sighed. The three of them were originally in the same position, but now Miao Tongtong has played herself to death. Anyway, even if Miss Jin Lingyun came back, Miao Tongtong would probably be too shameless to get close to her. She is so courageous that she dares to snatch food from the tiger's mouth. She doesn't even think about Miss Jin's character. Miss Jin is the most protective of shortcomings. She even warned the Miao family for Miao Tongtong in the past, but now Miao Tongtong is seeking death on her own. She resents. Who are you kidding? It's strange that you still want to take advantage of someone else's recipe. Pu Hongyi was very indifferent to this. When it came to Miao Tongtong, she didn't dislike her. She just thought Miao Tongtong was stupid. Then what should we do? We planned to play with the eldest lady before, but now the eldest lady is angry and won't take us, then we. Both of them have older brothers at home. It is impossible to inherit the family business, and they may be married, so this is the reason why the two insist on hugging each other. This time Jin Lingyun was angry and did not take them with her, which really made the two of them unhappy. People feel a little uncomfortable. The family members all urged them to ask why they didn't play with Miss Jin, but Miss Jin was busy at work, so how could they dare to disturb her? He will come back eventually. After the factory at Xie Tingzhou's home is built, he will come back. Besides, haven't you contacted Xiang Jingshan? The fight has been heated recently. Pu Hongyi looked like Ye Yuking in front of him, and he was slightly interested. Refer to. Ye Yuking's cheeks suddenly turned red, but she retorted. I'm not getting close to Xiang Jingshan for anything else, I just admire him. Ye Yuking has been in frequent contact with Xiang Jingshan recently. There is also ambiguity between the two, and they are almost at the end of a final confession. I don't want to worry about this, but I advise you to be sincere and not to make small moves. Can you please Xie Tingzhou to deal with it? If he knows about your little moves against Xiang Jingshan, do you think you will get any benefits? Pu Hongyi could see clearly that Miss Jin was difficult to serve, but Miss Jin also protected her shortcomings. Could the person who could be favored by Miss Jin be a simple person? Xie Tingzhou built 2 big factories in 4 months without saying a word. The handsome sausage guy has more than 1 million fans online. How can such a person be a simple and brainless man? If you plot against the people around him, you will be plotted to death sooner or later. Even Miss Jin was being pinched. Pu Hongyi didn't dare to look down on this man anyway. Ya Yuking blushed and retorted. I just kind of like Xiang Jingshan, and I don't want to use him as a springboard. Pu Hongyi nodded after hearing this. That's fine. If you really like him, stay with him. Xiang Jingshan will definitely have a bright future with Xieting Zhou from now on, and your parents won't object. Her calm analysis made Ya Yuking blush and feel at a loss. As soon as she fell in love with someone, she was mentioned about marriage, which made Ya Yuking so shy that she could not speak. But Xieting Zhou, who was far away in his hometown, didn't know that his brother was ready to fall in love. He was taking Jin Lingyun to eat delicious food. This was a recipe that Xieting Zhou specially bought from the Almighty God of Cooking system. The first one to make it would naturally be given to him first. Girlfriend tastes. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Zhanghu Buletin Jian. Chapter 112. Looking at the white and tender fruit pulp in the bowl, Jin Lingyun picked up a spoon and put the pulp into her mouth. Then she first felt the sweet and clear taste of the juice in her mouth, and then bit into the fragrant pear flesh. It was not too sweet. But it is so cold that when you eat it, you feel that both the taste and the freshness of the pulp are very good. The most important thing is that when the crisp and sweet pulp enters the throat along with the juice, Jin Lingyun feels an inexplicable soothing feeling in her throat, which makes Jin Lingyun feel a little strange. She looks at the ordinary pear flesh in the bowl. How do you think your boyfriend can make such an ordinary thing so delicious? Are they delicious? Xieting Zhou asked. All the dwarf pears at home had been picked. Unlike in previous years, they were all bought directly by others. This year, Xieting Zhou did not let his family sell them. Instead, he sold one. The recipe for the canned pear meat was given to the family to make. In fact, it was during their free time. Xieting Zhou's uncle came over from the north. He was solely responsible for the pears. Only what Jin Lingyun ate was made by Xieting Zhou himself. If he hadn't seen so many dwarf pears at home, Xieting Zhou would not have thought of making canned pear meat. It's delicious, but why do you want to make canned pear meat? The canned pear meat you made is more delicious than the one sold on the market, and not only does the pear taste very tight when you eat it, but the juice in the can is so delicious that you can eat it in your mouth. There is an indescribable refreshing feeling, and it feels very comfortable when it slides down the throat. Pears generally have the effect of moistening the lungs and resolving phlegm, which is why people often say that drinking rock sugar and snow pears when coughing is the same as drinking canned pear meat. This canned pear meat maintains the original taste of pears very well, and the prepared canned juice is not the rich sweetness on the market makes people feel slightly bitter when taking a bite, but when it melts in the mouth, it feels particularly comfortable in the throat. Didn't I grow a lot of dwarf pears at home? I just picked them last month. After my uncle came over, I made this and asked him to make all the dwarf pears in my home into cans and wait until he returns to Beijing City. Please bring some more home. Didn't you say before that your grandfather and father have some chronic bronchitis? I put Chinese medicine ingredients in this can, which are specially used to moisten the lungs and resolve phlegm, and treat coughs and coughs. Phlegm has a significant effect. Xieting Zhou has to talk about the Almighty God of Cooking system. Real food is not only delicious, but the top ingredients can also cure various diseases after being combined. For example, this canned pear meat. The main function of this canned pear meat is to moisten the lungs and resolve phlegm, but the side effects are what make it delicious. Thinking that his girlfriend's family had an elderly person suffering from chronic bronchitis, Xieting Zhou told Jin Lingyun to bring more. Of course, some of the food at home was left to his grandfather, who also had the same problem. In fact, there are many cases of chronic bronchitis in the elderly, usually caused by lung problems, which can cause symptoms of coughing and sputum, and sometimes difficulty in breathing. This canned pear meat is specifically targeted at this. Are you too careful? I just said it casually and you remembered it. Jin Lingyun was also surprised and happy. She looked at the canned pear meat in her hand. Regardless of whether this thing is really effective, but her boyfriend Jin Lingyun still bought into her grandfather and father's affection. My grandfather also has this problem. Besides, there are pharmaceutical ingredients in this can. I can't promote it yet, but Fangzi has tested it. Don't worry, I guarantee it will be effective. The products produced by the system are naturally not ordinary products. Xieting Zhou believes in this canned pear meat very much. Thinking that his girlfriend is busy with him, his father-in-law also provides many channels. Otherwise, if he opens this factory, all kinds of meat will not be available. If you know where to get it, it's all through the Jin family's channels. I know. When I go back this time, I will take it back to my grandpa and dad to try it. They will definitely like it, and so will I. Jin Lingyun held the bowl and started eating again, especially since she has been tired recently. This canned pear meat just makes my throat soothing and gives me a particularly comfortable feeling. Xieting Zhou saw her smiling and started laughing himself. After that, Xieting Zhou asked his parents to give the canned food to his grandfather, so that he could also eat it. Eating a few pieces a day can improve chronic bronchitis. In fact, not many of the dwarf pears contracted by Xie's Himing came out, and all of them were canned by his son. There was a canning processing factory nearby, and his brother-in-law helped to keep an eye on the cans. As for these cans, Xieting Zhou had no intention of selling them locally. He directly found connections to have the cans shipped to Shangjing City. Jin Lingyun also gave this can a cute name, called Ben Benli. Now the Xie family is still busy with factory affairs. They more or less have their own positions in the factory. Although they are not in charge of things that are too powerful, they are still leaders. Xieting Zhou is not stingy about these things. In addition, the factory has the main managers all came from Shangjing City, so Xieting Zhou was very relieved. At the end of August, when my senior year was about to start in September, the school also wanted to let Xieting Zhou go back to give an entrepreneurial speech. Xieting Zhou could no longer stay in his hometown. After saying goodbye to his parents, Xieting Zhou took Jin Lingyun back to Shangjing City and brought many specialties from home. As soon as they got off the plane in Shangjing City, they saw Jin Dexuan and Gu Tingyun, the couple who came to pick them up. Dad. Mom. Jin Lingyun had not seen her parents for several months, and she suddenly jumped into their arms. She was really clingy. Jin Dexuan pushed his daughter away and looked at Xieting Zhou, who was now more mature, and was even more satisfied with the son-in-law. Uncle and aunt, please come and pick us up, Xieting Zhou said, but Jin Dexuan smiled. It's not troublesome. From now on we are all a family. What's the trouble? The old man and I both ate the canned pear meat you asked Lingyun to bring back. Not to mention, we felt a lot better after eating it. The old man didn't even eat it at night. I'm coughing up phlegm, so I'm waiting to see you at home, and then I'll have a quick dinner with you at home before going back to school. A week ago, Xieting Zhou's canned pear meat was delivered directly. Jin Dexuan ate the canned pear meat with his old father. Unexpectedly, Mr. Jin stopped coughing phlegm that night. After all, the elderly with chronic bronchitis will continue to cough. Or coughing up phlegm, especially at night, a spittoon is needed, and now that the old man eats this canned pear meat, he sleeps sweetly at night, which naturally makes Jin Dexuan like the son-in-law even more. Okay, as long as Grandpa feels comfortable, Xieting Zhou nodded, knowing that the canned pear meat he made would be popular. Jin Lingyun also heard her father's words and her eyes widened. Is it really so powerful? I only thought it tasted delicious, but I didn't think it was that powerful. She is not a person with this disease, so she naturally does not know the torment of this disease. Coughing and expectoration are very painful for many elderly people. Can your dad lie to you? Your dad and your grandpa stopped coughing after eating it. Moreover, This canned pear meat can also be cooked into pear meat and white fungus porridge. Just add white fungus and it will be particularly delicious. Your grandfather now eats it morning and night. Have a bowl, I like it. After all, if you could be healthy without taking medicine, who wouldn't want to have that? Gu Tingyun also looked at Xie Tingzhou gratefully. In fact, her mother also had the same problem of coughing up phlegm. Now that she ate the canned pear meat, she was much better. The elderly at home now drink it every morning and evening. They really like it. Isn't that great? Let grandma drink it too. Jin Lingyun still remembered grandma, so after finishing her words, Gu Tingyun also laughed. They are all sent away, so today I will take Tingzhou to meet your grandpa, and then I will meet your grandpa and grandma. The family really likes Xie Tingzhou. From this person to his way of doing things, they really like this kid. After the four people talked for a while, they left the airport and took a car to the Jin family's villa. This villa was naturally luxurious, but Xie Tingzhou was very calm about it. After entering, he met Mr. Jin, who had retired to recuperate. Mr. Jin had gone out with friends for a while and had just come back recently. You are Tingzhou, right? You are indeed a talented person, with good looks and good temperament, and your spiritual vision is excellent. The old man was full of energy. When he saw Xie Tingzhou, he smiled very kindly. Hello grandpa, I'm Xie Tingzhou, nice to meet you. When Xie Tingzhou opened his mouth, Mr. Jin liked it even more. He waved directly and asked his son to hand over the prepared gift, and then gave it to Xie Tingzhou. The first time we met, you are a lovable kid. I heard that you are starting a business now. I can't help you much. This is a check of 500 million. If you take it and do it, young people should be full of energy. Chongjing I ate your handsome sausage. It was very delicious. Only things that people like will be accepted by them. Just go in this direction. I believe you can also make great achievements in food. It is directly a check of 500 million, which is what Mr. Jin most frankly likes. This is his own money, not from the Jin group. Anyway, although the old man has retired, there is still a coffin, and the 500 million is taken from it. Came out. Mr. Jin really thinks this grandson-in-law is fine. Thank you, Grandpa. I will definitely work harder in this area. Of course, I owe my business to Lingyun's help. I also thank my uncle for providing me with more channels, otherwise I would not have started my business so quickly. Xie Tingzhou thanked him very sincerely. After all, what he said was correct. If it weren't for the channels of the Jin family, his handsome sausage would not be able to exert its maximum effect even if it was famous. The Jin family contributed money and effort, and also provided various purchasing channels. They really regarded Xie Tingzhou as one of their own. You are an honest kid. I like the canned pear meat that Lingyun brought back. I heard that you made a batch. I think it is very good. I gave some to many old friends and they all liked it. How about I ask my son to build a cannery, and you come up with the recipe, and the cannery gives you 10% of the shares to can the pear meat. The value of this canned pear meat is not only a snack, but also has medicinal value. Mr. Jin did not take advantage of Xie Tingzhou. He lied to him about the secret recipe because Xie Tingzhou's current development cannot support him to build so many different types of factories in a short period of time, so the Jin family came in to help Xie Tingzhou. Xie Tingzhou was naturally willing. After all, the Jin family had helped him so much. Not to mention canned pear meat, he was also willing to give him other things. Grandpa, I listen to you. This canned pear meat was originally made because I heard from Lingyun that you had a cough and phlegm. Now you can feel better after eating canned pear meat. Of course I am the happiest. This even if the recipe for canned pear meat is given to you, I would be willing to give it to you. What he said was very nice. Not only was Jin Lingyun happy, but Jin Dexuan was also relieved. With such a generous son-in-law, it was normal for the Jin family to support him more. Old Master Jin smiled like a flower, but insisted on not taking advantage of Xieting Zhou. If you say 10%, then it's 10%. Just come up with a prescription and leave the rest to my son. Then just wait for the money to be divided. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Zhanghu Buletin Jian. Chapter 113. Good fellow. You are finally back. Our pioneer of starting a business from scratch. Ha 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 ha. When Xieting Zhou returned to the 703 dormitory, everyone was really joking. Recently, Xiang Jingshan has been very busy. He needs to go through all the projects of various factories, and then he needs to make further handovers with the management. Although Xiang Jingshan does not have money in his hands, he also looks at the company's account books. Now he has a position as the director of the finance department. Of course, the finance department is not just Xiang Jingshan, he just needs to do more. The speaker is Niu Song, who has also been interning for 4 months. At this moment, he really congratulates Xieting Zhou sincerely, and he also wants to change jobs. Xieting Zhou has known the people in the dormitory for a long time, so he speaks directly. How is your internship going? Is everything okay? Jingshan is helping me now. Do you want to come over too? The company is short of people. Now the handsome sausage company has expanded to more than 400 people, including graduates from Beijing University of Finance and Economics and professional CEOs found in the recruitment market. After all, professional trivial matters need to be taken care of by professionals. Xieting Zhou has a lot of things to do, and he just needs to control the general direction. Is it okay? I don't want to stay in that crappy company anymore. They just treat me as a handyman. Every day I just do forms and serve them tea and water. It's boring. How happy I was to go to that company before, how unhappy I am now. Niu Song said this directly without hiding it. Sure, there are many people from our school working in my company, not only in the finance department, but also in the sales department, the publicity department, and the network customer service department, or the factory raw material handover. You can go anywhere you want. Xieting Zhou was not stingy in pulling these brothers of his. When this came out, Niu Song smiled like a flower and patted Xieting Zhou on the shoulder. Good brother. I'm fine with whatever you put me in. As long as I can learn something and be useful, it's fine. Xiang Jingshan on the side also smiled, knowing that Niu Song would not take the initiative to tell Xieting Zhou this unless he really couldn't help it. Well, then Yufan, do you want to come to my company for internship? 1 more is 1 more, 2 more is 2 more, so Xieting Zhou asked more by the way. Wan Yufan was quite entangled. He has been studying for the past 4 months and is waiting for the postgraduate entrance examination at the end of the year. When he heard Xieting Zhou's words, it would be a lie to say that he was not moved, but he always felt that working with his brothers would affect Xieting Zhou. Seeing his hesitant expression, Xiang Jingshan patted him on the shoulder directly. Why are you hesitating? Ting Zhou has said it, just come directly. Besides, after you take the postgraduate entrance examination, aren't you going to work and make money? Why can't you work in advance to help your brother? Ting Zhou's company is getting bigger and bigger, and there will be a lot of things to do. Let's study in advance now, and when the factory of Zhou is big, we can also get a job as a factory manager. Xiang Jingshan really thought so. He was very busy for 4 months. He wanted to live in the factory 24 hours a day. It was only when Xieting Zhou came back that he came to the dormitory to take a look. He learned a lot and grew a lot, so he felt that he would be able to support a factory for Xieting Zhou in the future. Besides, Looking at the development track of his brother's career, it seems that he is rapidly overtaking. What's wrong with his brother eating meat and them drinking meat soup? Ting Zhou is willing. How many people in this school want to drink the soup but can't? Okay, Ting Zhou, thank you for your help. Please arrange a job for me, but I don't need to arrange any important position. I can improve myself slowly. They are all self-aware. Unlike Xiang Jingshan, whose family is engaged in business, he is good at dancing with long sleeves and flirting with those so-called dealers all day long, and he is not on good terms with other partners. Therefore, Niu Song and Wan Yufan both need to learn and make further progress. Okay, then I will arrange it tomorrow. Do you want to work with Jingshan in the factory in Shangjing City or in the head office? Xie Tingzhou asked. Soon, they got the idea that the two wanted to follow Xiang Jingshan. After all, they felt that they could learn something under the hands of their brothers. Xiang Jingshan, the boss, took good care of them. Now that they have money, Xie Tingzhou returned the money of several people. The three did not say much. They knew that the handsome guy's sausage is not only popular now, but also has a huge sales volume. The whole country is talking about the handsome guy's sausage. It can be said that it is a phenomenal online celebrity sausage. It makes money like water every day, and everyone does not bother Xie Tingzhou too much. As soon as I returned to school, the school began to arrange a large meeting the next day, mainly to let Xie Tingzhou talk about his entrepreneurial experience and cheer up the young people in the school. Now Xie Tingzhou can be said to be a real internet celebrity. Not only handsome sausages, but many people know the three words Xie Tingzhou. His personal Weibo has also exceeded 1 million fans. Who made him look good? High appearance is an advantage. The fact that handsome sausages could be directly popular at the beginning was also closely related to Xie Tingzhou's appearance. At this time, the beginning of September happened to be the time when a new batch of college students enrolled. Xie Tingzhou started from scratch, and the assets from less than 100,000 yuan to tens of millions of things were said on the internet. After all, in just 4 months, Xie Tingzhou completed his personal entrepreneurship, company establishment, and completed the total sales of the first quarter, and finally reached a net profit of 100 million. This really shocked entrepreneurs across the country. For the first time, I knew that everyone liked to eat sausages so much. But it's normal. There are so many people in China, more than 1 billion people, and it's no problem for tens of millions of sausages to be eaten every day. Moreover, the sales volume of handsome sausage is increasing. The factory makes products sold at unit prices. When the wholesale price is not used, it will be a few cents more expensive, but it can't stop the enthusiasm of netizens. After the online store and sales link of handsome sausage are posted, the sales volume is tens of thousands, which is increasing every minute. Xie Tingzhou is also unwilling to let go of the internet. The company has long invited anchors to conduct live sales, so the daily sales are very considerable. The school quickly notified the students that Xie Tingzhou, the self-made boss of handsome sausage and a senior student of the school, will give an entrepreneurship speech at the school. Students in need can come to the school auditorium to study. It can be said that after this news came out, how many people want to go? Jin Lingyun, who returned to the school, also saw the latest news. I'm going to listen to my boyfriend's entrepreneurship speech. Are you going? Jin Lingyun asked Pu Hongyi, Ye Yuking, and Miao Tongtong. Miao Tongtong gave Jin Lingyun a gift after she came back and tried to please her. Jin Lingyun was not a person with a bad temper. She knew that Miao Tongtong was just greedy for a while, so she didn't take it to heart and forgave her. Go. You must support her, Pu Hongyi nodded quickly, and then Ye Yuking and Miao Tongtong did the same. Miao Tongtong's family is engaged in breeding. This time, Jin Lingyun's boyfriend needed a source of goods but didn't notify the Miao family. It can be said that Miao Tongtong had a bad summer vacation. So after apologizing seriously this time, Jin Lingyun was willing to give the Miao family a chance, which made Miao Tongtong happy. Naturally, she didn't dare to go and had any other ideas. She just said it casually at the time. She really didn't expect that Xieting's handsome sausage could achieve such results. A small snack actually directly created a company worth hundreds of millions. Is this appropriate? So Xieting's soaring is destined. Miao Tongtong thinks that Miss Jin is very powerful. Seeing that a boyfriend is so powerful, she dare not say anything more. One day later, it was time for Xieting Zhou to give a speech. The school's auditorium was full of people. Xieting Zhou stood on the podium in a simple white shirt, facing many students below, and began his entrepreneurial speech experience. The most important thing for students to start a business is to choose a good project. It depends on what projects you like and are suitable for. Don't waste time on projects that are not suitable for you. Another issue is the capital issue. When choosing a project, you also need to consider the personal capital issue. Entrepreneurship is a long-term persistence. The losses in the early stage are huge, and you may not be able to persist in the later stage. So if you want to start a business, I recommend that you take it step by step from childhood to adulthood. The man on the podium seemed to be glowing. The white shirt and the handsome face with cold white skin made people really unable to move their eyes away. Xieting's voice was also very nice. The solemnity of the story at this time made people listen carefully involuntarily. Jin Lingyun, who was in the audience, held her face and felt that her boyfriend was so good no matter how she looked at him. How could she fall in love with such a good man? The other three people were also in a complicated mood at this time. Pu Hongyi watched Xieting Zhou rise, and knew that Xieting Zhou was a hidden dragon in the abyss. Once he rose, he would soar into the sky. It was really enviable. Ya Yuking lowered her head and secretly chatted with Xiang Jingshan. Holding the phone, her ears were slightly red and she fell in love. Miao Tongtong was looking at the glowing man on the stage, wondering why Jin Lingyun was so lucky, with such a good family background and such a good boyfriend, which made people so jealous. A cold reception during the summer vacation made Miao Tongtong afraid of Jin Lingyun and jealous. She could not resist her parents and brother at home, so she could only blame Jin Lingyun for not letting her catch up with this handsome guy's sausage train. The Jin family had contacted many meat distributors, but they did not contact the Miao family, which made Miao Tongtong feel uncomfortable. She felt even more uncomfortable when her parents accused her of offending the Jin family. Xieting Zhou talked freely on the podium and answered some entrepreneurial questions asked by everyone below, each of which was very serious. After the 2-hour speech, Xieting Zhou walked off the stage. He knew that his girlfriend was below and planned to take his girlfriend to have dinner with the people in the dormitory. Before, he had always said that he wanted to have dinner together, but he was not free. Now he finally has this time. Jin Lingyun also stood up quickly and led Pu Hongyi and the others to the backstage. As soon as they entered the backstage door, they saw a beautiful lady with a 9-head body talking to Xieting Zhou. "Xie, my grandfather has always had anorexia, but after eating the handsome sausage you made, he got better. But he still feels anorexia when eating other things, so I would like to ask Xie for help. Can you make some food for my grandfather alone? Good man, he has a golden finger." Author, Zhanghu Buletin Jian. Chapter 114. This person is tall, and her proportions are almost exactly according to the old textbooks. She is Tang Simon, the eldest daughter of the Tang family. She did not graduate from the Beijing University of Finance and Economics, but graduated from the Beijing Aviation University. However, she is a flight attendant. The eldest lady, Tang Simon, flies a fighter jet. After Xieting Zhou heard such an invitation, he looked at Tang Simon in front of him. The memories belonging to the original owner were flowing in his mind, about Tang Simon in front of him and Mr. Tang. The Tang family has reached this generation. After Mr. Tang retired, Tang Simon's father was very active in the army. Tang Simon caught up with the country and did not allow children to be born. The Tang family only has one child, but in fact the Tang family still favors sons over daughters. I think being a soldier is what a man should do, to protect his family and his country. It is the most loyal choice for a man. Tang Simon grew up in such an environment. Although she was a proud son of heaven, she was not nurtured by the Tang family. The Tang family even handed over all the resources to Tang Simon's cousin to take over. It was clear that Tang Simon's father was the one who held the most important position in the family. The strongest, but Tang Simon's father never thought of training Tang Simon, even though this daughter went to the military for training, even flew a fighter jet, truly became an astronaut, and had participated in my country's aircraft and space flight demonstrations before. Such an outstanding girl obviously works so hard to express herself, but because the family values boys over girls, she does not have the resources that the family can provide, so she will especially please the old man, in order to be able to express herself without her father's help. After getting some resources from grandpa, even if the old man retires, he is still capable. Sorry, madam, you are not from our school, are you? I am starting a business now, but I have no intention of cooking for others. Xieting Zhou refused directly. After all, he remembered the siege city that had been built among these powerful people. It was through this Miss Tang Simon that the original owner entered another circle. Everyone talks about class, everyone talks about circles, but in fact they are just people with similar status hanging out together. For example, Miss Tang Simon of the Tang family, the people she comes into contact with are of course in a higher level circle, like Jin Lingyun's the circle is just like businessmen. The original owner at that time entered another circle after getting in touch with Tang Simon. He was frantically taking all kinds of things from the almighty god of cooking outside, just to please these big guys and finally get benefits from them. Everyone is interested in profit, and Tang Simon is the same. She likes the original person's cooking ability. To be precise, it is the ability to make magical food. That's why she knows that the original person has a girlfriend. She had to call the original owner in the middle of the night to tell her that there was a power outage at home and wanted her to stay with her. Later, when she found out that her father and mother were planning to have another child, Tang Simon deliberately asked the original owner to cook some food that was harmful to each other, and watched her mother eat it, killing two of them. Xieting Zhou didn't like Tang Simon, who would do whatever it took to get benefits. Sure enough, after hearing Xieting Zhou's rejection, Tang Simon's face turned a little ugly, then she put away her smile and said coldly, "I am Tang Simon from the Tang family, you should know, right?" She said it as a matter of course, thinking that she had admired this man when she was watching the speech, but at this time, this man was too ignorant. She invited such a man to cook for her grandfather, which was to give him face, but in the end being rejected made Tang Simon feel bad. I don't know, Xieting Zhou gave the result directly. Tang Simon was so angry that he almost got angry on the spot. Jin Lingyun also came in with her roommates. She recognized Tang Simon and immediately stepped forward with a smile. "Who do I think you are? I just saw Miss Tang from a distance. You are still so distinguished that I recognized you at the door just by looking at your back. Miss Tang, do you still remember me? I am Jinman Yugoi's Jin Lingyun, I've seen you before." She was all smiles as soon as she came up, and her pretty face made people feel embarrassed to slap her in the face. After Jin Lingyun came over, she held her boyfriend's hand and continued. "I just saw you talking to my family Zhou. Ting Zhou doesn't know your identity. If I offended you just now, please forgive me." She spoke quickly, but her respect for Tang Simon could be seen, which made Tang Simon feel much better instantly. She thought that this sausage seller was just a mud-legged guy from the countryside. He had never seen anything big in the world, but he just hooked up with Jin. Lingyun was able to have such an opportunity to soar into the sky, and she was not worthy of having the same experience as him. It's okay, Miss Jin, right? Of course I remember that I met your father at the state banquet before. The food at Yugalo in Kinmen was my grandfather's favorite. I came here to see your boyfriend this time because of something important. The thing is, my grandpa has always had a bad appetite. Now he ate the handsome grilled sausage that my brother brought home. He was quite appetizing, so I inquired about the news and came over. I thought about asking my classmates to come to my house to cook for my grandpa. I don't know if it's suitable for a meal for a while. Tang Simon said this, but she didn't feel it was inappropriate at all. It was truly natural at this time. If Xieting Zhou doesn't agree, Tang Simon has thousands of ways to make him agree. Those in power won't say much to ordinary people. When Jin Lingyun heard this, she finally understood why her boyfriend just looked so ugly. After all, although her boyfriend was not from a good background, he was also the favorite of the family. In addition to the handsome guy grilling sausages and canned food, he had never seen a man before. When friends go to cook or something, the aunties cook at home, which makes it really difficult for my boyfriend to cook. But Jin Lingyun knew that they couldn't afford to offend Tang Simon or the Tang family. So that's it? To be honest, Miss Tang, my boyfriend is not very good at cooking, but he just knows how to make some weird snacks. Recently, my grandfather has been drinking canned pear meat made by my boyfriend. Why don't I have someone give some to Miss Tang, and let Grandpa Tang taste it first? In the past few days, I'm urging him to develop more meals that the elderly can eat, and I will send them to you later. Do you think it's okay? Jin Lingyun's performance was a little flattering, and it satisfied Tang Simon's superiority, so she nodded dignifiedly without even looking at Xieting Zhou. Compared to Miss Jin's boyfriend, Miss Jin is a person who is easier to get along with. No wonder when Jinmen Yugui reaches this generation, Miss Jin is the only heir. I am still very optimistic about Miss Jin. Even jealous. After Tang Simon finished speaking, she withdrew her gaze from Jin Lingyun. After all, she was an only child, but her parents raised her as an heir. However, Tang Simon could only pave the way for others, and all the family resources were given to her cousin. Ms. Tang is so complimentary. Don't worry, I will definitely arrange your affairs for you. It is the first time for my boyfriend to meet such a noble person as Miss Tang. If he said anything to make Miss Tang unhappy, please forgive me. These nobles could turn ordinary people like them upside down with just a few clicks of their fingers. Therefore, Jin Lingyun's favor was also based on protecting Xieting Zhou. Of course, I won't be as knowledgeable as some people, just for Miss Jin's sake. Tang Lingyun sneered and finally left. During the whole process, only Jin Lingyun was talking to her. Pu Hongyi, Ye Yuking, and Miao Tongtong on the side did not dare to say a word. After all, the eldest lady of Kinmen Yugui needs someone to please, so then the status is naturally higher, which none of them can reach. The so-called circle does not mean that a lot of people of the same level play together, but everyone who reaches the same level is more or less competitive. Most of the circles are like Jin Lingyun. In this case, there is Jin Lingyun, the top one, and then Pu Hongyi and Ye Yuking are all followers. Several people surround Jin Lingyun to please them, just to get benefits from Jin Lingyun, just like the red carpet of a star's finale. It is normal for the king not to see the king. The same is true in the circle. Jin Lingyun can hang out with many young masters and young ladies, but rarely hangs out with caterers, so, get it? You guys go first, I'll talk to Ting Zhou for a while. Jin Lingyun noticed that her boyfriend seemed to be in a bad mood and quickly asked the others to leave. Pu Hongyi and others did not say anything and left quickly. After everyone left, only Xieting Zhou and Jin Lingyun were left in the room. Jin Lingyun held Xieting Zhou's hand and said coquettishly, "Ting Zhou, were you angry just now? I know you don't want to cook for others, but we really can't afford to offend Miss Tang. The Tang family is so powerful. Even a word from someone can affect me. Dad, our tens of billions of business is nothing in the eyes of others. The real pinnacle is not that money can buy everything, but that without spending money, anyone will give you the best. Jin Lingyun has met many top people with her grandfather and parents since she was a child, so she understands even more how stingy and careless these people are. You may offend the other person with a casual word, and then without knowing it, they may be killed in minutes. One word from someone can easily destroy years of hard work. Xie Tingzhou looked at Jin Lingyun trying to explain to himself. His lovely eyes looked at him pitifully, and he stretched out his arms to hug Jin Lingyun. I'm not angry because I don't want to cook for others, I just don't want to see you trying to please others. Now Xie Tingzhou completely understands why Jin Lingyun still had to compromise after the original owner got married. There was no other way. In order to protect the Jin family, as the heir of the Jin family, didn't he have to compromise? Jin Lingyun originally wanted to comfort her boyfriend, but in the end she felt distressed. Now she felt even more happy. She raised her head and kissed her boyfriend on the lips without hesitation. Don't care what happens to me. I treat Miss Tang the same as I treat Partia in the business world. I just say a few nice words to coax people. But I have said it, you can develop some new snacks come out. We will send it to the Tang family when the time comes. If it is useful, it will be useful. If it is not, Miss Tang will not come. It's just this matter, I still have to tell my father. Jin Lingyun is a little worried and always feels a little strange. Xie Tingzhou, on the other hand, thought of one thing. In the current Tang family, Tang Simon's parents should be preparing for pregnancy and will be pregnant soon, right? Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Zhanghu Bulletin Jian. Chapter 115. Still worried about her boyfriend, Jin Lingyun took her boyfriend directly to the company of Jin Group. Jin Dexuan usually worked here. Although Xie Tingzhou came here for the first time, he was noticed by many people. After all, everyone was those who surfed the internet know that the most popular handsome guy is grilled sausages. They also know that Xie Tingzhou, the developer of this handsome guy's grilled sausages, is the boyfriend of the heir to his family's Jin Group. They are both very good people. After all, how can ordinary people sell grilled sausages at such a volume? Can a big company be built in such a short time? When Jin Lingyun took Xie Tingzhou directly to her father's office, Jin Dexuan happened to come back from a meeting in the large conference room. When he opened the door, he saw his girl and her son-in-law sitting in his office. Ouch! What's the wind blowing today? Are you coming to your home company? Isn't Tingzhou busy? Why are you here? The first two sentences make fun of my daughter, and the last two sentences ask Xie Tingzhou. After all, handsome men grilling sausages are really popular recently, and they are really busy. A small company did not follow the formal process at the beginning, and it will get better later. The Jin family is also setting up a canning factory. This canned pear meat is really effective. Many people Mr. Jin knows have eaten it. After eating it, the effects started almost overnight. Many elderly people used to do it because of this. This chronic bronchitis can't sleep and coughs up phlegm, but now it's better as soon as I eat it. The effect of this canned pear meat is visible to the naked eye. The Jin family knows that this is a golden chicken that lays eggs, and they are even more protective of Xie Tingzhou. I have something to talk to Dad about. Jin Lingyun was always very arrogant in front of her father. Xie Tingzhou also spoke. Hello Uncle, Lingyun and I are here to tell you something. This made Jin Dexuan a little curious, and then asked what happened. Xie Tingzhou told what happened at school, and then informed Lingyun of how he handled it. Jin Dexuan nodded after hearing this, but he was very satisfied with the way his daughter dealt with it. After all, this daughter was trained as an heir. No matter how good Jin Lingyun looked on the outside, she was still a strong person on the inside who knew how to protect her own people. Lingyun did the right thing. The Tang family is not something that little people like us can afford to offend. In the past, even if we went to arrange the dishes at the state banquet, we still handled the wine business. I have also met people from the Tang family. This generation of the Tang family is still good. It's just that Tang Lao has no successor, but Tang Lao is silent, but his son is very powerful. He has won the third-class meritorious service at a young age. His future prospects are limitless. We can't offend our family. Don't worry about turning back. I will directly send a canned pear meat to Miss Tang, and she will definitely arrange it for the old man. After saying this, Jin Dexuan looked at Xie Tingzhou and said, Tingzhou, from the handsome guy's grilled sausage to today's canned pear meat, I think your ability in food research and development is stronger than in business. You know, business can be done by everyone, but researching food recipes is not. It was a flash of inspiration, but it took 10 years to sharpen the sword. The old chef in our building has only a few famous dishes of his own after so many years, and the handsome grilled sausage you make casually can be famous all over the country, even this famous one. Canned pear meat with medicinal properties can bring good news to many people with chronic bronchial diseases. Your real ability is actually food research and development. This is what Jin Dexuan has clearly felt recently. After all, other chefs or other people can eat just one recipe in their lifetime, just like the drinks on the market. If there is a recipe that is liked by the public, then this recipe it can be eaten for a lifetime. Even without their Jin family, handsome guy's sausage will slowly develop and sooner or later will have a place in the catering industry. For an ordinary family like Xie Tingzhou, it is not an exaggeration to reach the sky in one step. Because Xie Tingzhou had too few resources at the beginning, if enough resources were accumulated, he would only need to develop a product and then make money. Nowadays, various formulas are patented. If the patent is licensed, businessmen will be happy, and Xie Tingzhou can even make money while lying down. There are thousands of kinds of food industry, thousands of people's tastes, and there are so many ways to make money. Uncle, I also know this. Before I met Lingyun, I had never been exposed to such things as cooking. Now that the handsome guy has started making sausages, my idea of helping my hometown has been completed, and uncle, you still have. I am already very happy to promise that I will be the first to purchase pears from Qinglu City. If given the opportunity, I also hope that I can develop more recipes or some products that are beneficial to the people, such as canned pear meat. Xie Tingzhou's almighty god of cooking system naturally has these strange things, but the original owner bought the most expensive ones to please those who are above him. As for ordinary people, the original owner later looked down on him, but he didn't know that it was precisely because of these ordinary people, such a huge country was formed. Moreover, the original owner is unwilling to give out the formula. Except for some simple formulas for the women he likes, he holds all the formulas in his own hands and uses the system to please those who are superior, just to obtain more benefits. It's really boring. In this world, there are some things that are more obsessed with than interests. When Jin Dexuan heard his son-in-law's words, he nodded repeatedly, feeling that his son-in-law was still a thoughtful person. It's okay that you have this idea. It just so happens that your recent handsome sausage is also on the right track. You also have a professional CEO in charge of the company, so you don't have to worry too much. Let's put it this way. Lingyun has a golden tongue since she was a child. She can guess many recipes of food after tasting it. And I taught her to use a knife since she was a child. Although this child is a little girl, she is better than many chefs in cooking. From today on, I will let Lingyun take you to our Jinmen Yugui practice room to see if you can make some other dishes or products. When the Tang family asks, we will have an explanation. If it doesn't work, use the new recipe of Jinmen Yugui on Miss Tang. After all, not everyone can cure anorexia. Whether it works or not is a psychological effect. Miss Tang should not deliberately embarrass others. Okay, thank you Uncle Sieting Joe also wanted to take a break. After all, the company's affairs have been busy for several months, and he is exhausted. It is better to take a break on the grounds of researching recipes. Dad, you are the one. Then I will take Ting Joe to the building tomorrow. Giving her father a thumbs up, Jin Lingyun naturally understood that her father meant to protect her boyfriend, and she felt that her father was simply the best father in the world. Being complimented by his daughter, Jin Dexuan was speechless, waved his hand and asked his daughter to leave, and did not help here, looking annoying. So this afternoon, Sieting Zhou and Jin Lingyun had the opportunity to go shopping and play together, and the two also watched a movie, which was very happy. And Tang Simon had already received the canned food sent by the Jin family. The can was well packaged, but the Q version of the pear painted on it looked inexplicably magical, and then look at the name on it, stupid pear. For a moment, Tang Simon felt that it was wrong for her to give this thing to her grandfather to eat. Before, her cousin actually casually gave something to her grandfather to eat, and it was also because she saw that her grandfather was thinking about it again, so Tang Simon thought of looking for Sieting Zhou, but she didn't expect that person to be so tactless, and he was not as sensible as Jin Lingyun from the Jin family. Sieting Zhou's appearance flashed in her mind. Tang Simon didn't like this man. However, in order to please her grandfather, she naturally opened the can of stupid pears. Then, when the white pear meat entered her mouth, the sweet feeling was really amazing. Unlike those canned foods on the market that are extremely sweet and scary, this can of pear meat does not taste greasy at all. When the pear meat is in the mouth, it tastes more like the original flavor. It's just that the juice has a medicinal taste, but it tastes very good. Tang Simon ate 2 cans unconsciously. There is only 1 pear in each can of this can, so it is only 200 grams, which is convenient for the elderly and children to eat. This thing is not only for bronchitis, but also has a little effect on certain respiratory diseases, but Sieting Zhou didn't say it. After eating, Tang Simon realized what she had done. She looked at the 2 cans in disbelief, and wondered why the thing developed by Sieting Zhou was so addictive. Thinking of this, Tang Simon remembered that the people in the Jin family said that this thing can treat senile bronchitis, so she gave a few cans to the servants at home. I heard that this canned food can moisten the lungs and stop phlegm after eating, and it is very effective for chronic bronchitis. Aunt Wang, please try it and tell me the situation. Aunt Wang is the experimenter. She is not young and has chronic bronchitis. After getting these cans, she thanked Tang Simon seriously. After all, the things in the Tang family are all good things, and some ordinary people can't get them. 3 days later, Aunt Wang excitedly told Tang Simon that her chronic bronchitis has improved a lot. She used to cough and spit and couldn't sleep at night, but now she can fall asleep after eating canned food at night. It's amazing. Seeing Aunt Wang so excited, Tang Simon was sure of the efficacy of this canned food. Thinking that Grandpa would feel better after eating it, she immediately took the things to visit Grandpa in the hospital. Mr. Tang has been living in the hospital for the past 6 months. His long-term loss of appetite has made him somewhat malnourished. He is skinny and bony, which makes the guards who guard him worry every day. The sausages brought by the younger generation of the Tang family attracted Mr. Tang last time. After that, everyone changed the way they made sausages for him. Recently, his body has recovered a lot, he has gained weight, and his spirits have become more, which makes everyone very happy. When Tang Simon came, Mr. Tang had not eaten yet. Her arrival made Mr. Tang very happy. Why are you here today? Don't you have work? Tang Simon is a person with a unit after all, and is stationed in Shangjing City, so Mr. Tang was surprised to see Tang Simon. Take a rest these 2 days, Grandpa, look at what delicious food I brought you. I promise you like it. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Jonghu Buletin. Chapter 116. After suddenly losing his appetite, Mr. Tang's life was actually not very good. After all, if a person does not eat, he will die. If the body function cannot keep up, he will naturally feel uncomfortable, have stomach cramps, and then feel the pain in the body. The power is gradually being drained away, which is a feeling more terrifying than aging. Mr. Tang also fought on the battlefield in the early years, otherwise he would not enjoy such treatment now. However, after retirement, he may have grown old and the people around him have gradually left. He is afraid of the enemies he once encountered and some dreams. It was enough to destroy Mr. Tang's mentality. He is not afraid of death, but he always sees a lot of wars in his dreams, those broken limbs, those bodies corroded by poisonous gas, those indescribable painful deaths. Mr. Tang had seen these with his own eyes when he was young, but maybe as people get older, they will always think of the past, so they will lose their appetite more and more. From a medical perspective, this problem is called mental illness. Anorexia is also a manifestation of mental illness. It is because of people's psychological illness that they don't want to eat. After a long time, they either don't want to eat, but they can't eat or can't eat. Fortunately, Mr. Tang just didn't want to eat for the time being, and he wasn't at the point where he couldn't eat. With the hard work of doctors and various chefs, although Mr. Tang was also very skinny, his body was at least fine and he could hold on. Hearing that his granddaughter brought him delicious food, Mr. Tang was very considerate. "What's delicious to bring?" he asked, being very kind in front of his granddaughter, which was completely different from being strict with his son. "It's canned pear meat. This canned pear meat is a new thing from Ugalo in Kinmen. It is said that chronic bronchitis can be improved after eating it. Grandpa, I have had people try it. It really works. You must eat it and taste it. If it's good for your body, that's the best thing." Tang Simon opened the can gently, then put it in a small bowl and planned to feed it to Mr. Tang herself. "It's not like I can't move. Give me the bowl. How can I be fed by you?" Mr. Tang took the canned pear meat and smelled a slight sweet taste. He then took a bite and it really made his mouth salivate. The can had a slight medicinal smell, but after entering the mouth, he only felt that his tongue was very comfortable. After taking a bite of the pear meat, it has a completely original taste, not too sweet, not too greasy, and mixed with juice makes it feel comfortable to eat. Eating canned food in summer is also a good choice. Mr. Tang's eyes lit up, he really liked this can, and the most important thing was that after taking one bite, he felt like he started to want to eat. "This is good. After eating this, I feel like I want to eat something else." When the guard heard this, he quickly arranged for other meals to be brought over. As a result, Mr. Tang ate canned pear meat and other meals at the same time. He really worked up his appetite, which made people feel good. Tang Simon was in a good mood when she saw that her grandfather had an appetite, and she also ate some with her grandfather. At this moment, two people came in from outside. They were none other than Tang Jian and Tang Yi, the sons of Tang Simon's second uncle. Tang Jian was Tang Simon's cousin and the heir to all the connections of the Tang family. Tang Jian looked injured, with white gauze wrapping his right arm. Tang Yi at the side carefully supported his brother. "Grandpa, have you started eating? You have a good appetite today." Tang Jian came over carefree, still injured, but Tang Yi glanced at his cousin and didn't dare to speak. He had given the sausage to his grandfather before, but his cousin found out about it and scolded him, making Tang Yi cautious now. "And I don't dare to feed Mr. Tang anything strange. The canned food your sister brought is delicious. You and Xiao I come here quickly and try the canned pear meat that Simon brought." It's sweet and delicious. You kids like this the most. Mr. Tang still referred to his younger generation as children. Tang Simon on the side naturally couldn't look down on these two cousins in front of his grandfather, so he took two cans and handed them to them, asking them to open them themselves. Tang Jian's hand was injured, so Tang Yi quickly opened the can for his brother, and then the two of them started eating. Mr. Tang glanced at his granddaughter, and then at his injured grandson who was eating cans stupidly. He didn't say anything more and continued eating. This is so delicious. It tastes good and not too sweet. Grandpa, if you like it, just eat more. Tang Jian's personality is quite outgoing. Although he is a soldier, he is injured at this moment. He couldn't stop, picking up vegetables with chopsticks and eating. After he was injured recently, he lived in this hospital and came to eat with Mr. Tang every day at noon. Okay, I'm eating. You should take good care of yourself. Even if you're injured, do you still care about me? Mr. Tang's words were somewhat suggestive, which made Tang Jian feel helpless and could only eat by himself. Tang Yi carefully helped his brother with this and that. He admired his brother the most, but occasionally he was disliked by Tang Jian. Tang Simon didn't say anything and just ate quietly, but Mr. Tang suddenly lost his temper. This is probably what happens when people get old, just like children. Simon, please stop sending things to me all the time. In the end, they all end up in this stupid boy's mouth. I heard your dad said that you are also busy at work. You should go to work. I have old arms and legs. As long as your brother, a patient, stays with me, I won't delay your work. When he said this, Tang Simon felt something was wrong, but he didn't dare to ask more questions and could only nod obediently. Grandpa, I'm leaving first. She didn't even say hello to her cousin. After everyone left, Mr. Tang threw away his chopsticks, sat there and sighed. Tang Jian and Tang Yi both saw the old man like this. Tang Yi didn't dare to eat, but Tang Jian was very calm. Grandpa, why are you suddenly angry? The food is so delicious, and it's hard to see you eating so much. If you are angry now, wouldn't you feel sick to your stomach? Tang Jian is not afraid of Grandpa, he is smiling playfully now. Still laughing? Do you still know how to laugh? You didn't even look at your sister. She didn't even say hello when she saw you, and turned a blind eye to your injuries. You, the elder brother, don't have any idea? I don't know what's going on with this old man. Those who teach children teach Simon like this. If he doesn't work hard and spends all day delving into these crooked ways, is it just a matter of eating a meal? If I see that you are all well, it will be okay even if you starve to death. As soon as Mr. Tang said these words, Tang Yi looked at his grandfather eagerly, not knowing what to say, but Tang Jian ate the food on the table casually. Grandpa, children, and grandchildren will have their own blessings. It's useless for you to worry so much. It's not that Simon doesn't like me and Xiaoi. She doesn't like men. As long as he is a good man, she will say something. The only fault is that God didn't give her a male body. Tang Jian's words were so cruel that Mr. Tang's original anger was choked in his stomach, and he pointed at his grandson and said helplessly. Since Simon was a child, she felt that she was a girl, so I favored you as my grandson. When it came to her father's side, she also felt that her father favored you, but the things he gave you when you were young were not the same. Later, he sent you to the military university. I came to the army again, you were on the same path, but she went astray, and now she doesn't work well, and she thinks about all the things she has and doesn't have. She thought I didn't know, and she called me directly. I was completely embarrassed. Reprimanding his granddaughter is not what a grandfather should do, it needs to be taught by her father. Mr. Tang asked about Tang Simon's work today because Tang Simon spent 3 days fishing and 2 days drying nets. A good job was messed up. What should training be like? If you act like this as a leader, How will the people below see you? Tang Jian continued to eat, ignoring the old man's complaints. He was injured and came back to recuperate. Tang Yi couldn't help but complain to his grandfather. "Grandpa, I just heard it. The canned pear meat that my sister brought you was brought back from Kinmen Yugui. The Handsome Guy's roasted sausage I brought last time was the developer of Handsome Guy's roasted sausage. He is Kinmen Yugui, Lu's son-in-law. The last time I gave you grilled sausage, my sister scolded me, saying that I gave you something shabby and not afraid of being dirty, but it was wrong for my sister to do this. Didn't you just scold me? You just got some canned pear meat from someone else's house. I know it. It was also made by the Handsome Sausage developer. The Jin family sent it to many people, but they couldn't reach it. I was there. Had it at a good friend's house. This kid is sincere and knows that his cousin doesn't like him. He has been aggrieved since he was scolded last time. Now that he has the time to complain, Tang Jian gave him a head-scratching blow. How old are you, and you still complain like a child? Your sister gets the same thing as everyone else, just to be filial to grandpa. The more he said this, the more uncomfortable Mr. Tang felt. Thinking that the children at home were all very good, why did Simon always feel that he was partial? Is it okay if I don't have the ability and don't work hard, but just think about taking crooked ways every day? You said the Jin family gave away this canned pear meat to many people. Mr. Tang suddenly asked his grandson such a question. Tang Yi nodded. That's right. Anyone in Shangjing City who has a family doing business or has an elderly person has received canned pear meat from Mr. Jin, especially from their grandson-in-law. But our family definitely doesn't have it. They are smart. Gifts like these that are not on the market are only given to business districts. This answer made Tang Jian stunned for a moment. He looked at his stupid brother and suddenly laughed, giving Tang Yi another headache. My silly brother. I'm trying to kill you. Mr. Tang was also angry and laughed. Looking at his grandson who was injured at the border for the country, and then looking at his granddaughter who used the power of the Tang family to suppress others, he became even more angry. Only people in the business district have this can, so my granddaughter said it was a gift from the Jin family. How did the Jin family send it? Was it given willingly, or was it forced? After all, his ancestor was an imperial chef and had been responsible for handling state banquets decades ago. How could he be an ordinary businessman? Mr. Tang glared at Tang Jiandao. You just know how to laugh. Look at what your unsatisfactory sister has done outside. People are pointing their noses at you. No matter how good the Jin family is, it is not someone Simon, a junior, can offend if he wants to. Tang Jian, you should rest well these days, go and apologize to Boss Jin on my behalf, and I will take care of it from your sister's side. When Tang Jian heard this, he became interested. How to deal with it? He was extremely curious, and this mean look made Mr. Tang helpless. Arrange for her to be released. Don't come back to Beijing again. Otherwise, when I die, she will offend everyone. Grandpa Tang quickly arranged it and asked his eldest son to transfer Tang Simon to a military area far away from Shangjing City. It is estimated that she will not be able to return in her lifetime and will have to stay there forever. Xieting Zhou understood immediately after hearing Jin Lingyun say that Grandpa Jing gave away many of the canned pears he brought to the business circle of Shangjing City. Grandpa and uncle really love you. Jin Lingyun didn't understand and was still silly. Of course my grandpa and dad love me, they only have me as their treasure, okay. Xieting Zhou also laughed and hugged Jin Lingyun. So I have to protect my treasure well, and you are also my treasure. Even though he didn't like to deal with those dignitaries, sometimes, the existence of these people was necessary, at least, he couldn't always let his girlfriend suffer grievances, right? Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Zhanghu Buletin Jian. Chapter 117. Kinmen Yugalo is the busiest at this time. Their eldest lady Jin Lingyun and her boyfriend Xieting Jo came here to learn cooking. This was naturally welcomed by all the master chefs at Yugalo in Kinmen. After all, the Jin family is different from other so-called business people. The ancestors of the Jin family were imperial chefs, and later they went all the way to the present. From the early years of opening a shop to now it has become a huge company, among which Jin Yulong Pure Brew is the national wine at the state banquet, which is enough to prove the capabilities of the Jin family. There is no descendant of the Jin family who does not learn cooking skills, and our ancestors like to take apprentices with them. The master chefs at Yugalo in Kinmen all have some relationship with the Jin family and are good at cooking. Yes, he holds the shares and share of Kinmen Yugui Tower, so he is naturally living a good life. Not only that, they also watched Jin Lingyun grow up. The little girl came to learn how to cook early. How many people felt sorry for her at that time? Now that Jin Lingyun has grown up and has become a pretty girl, she is naturally surrounded by the masters and cares about her every time she comes. This time I brought my boyfriend here to learn how to cook, and the master chefs also continued to help. At this moment, the master chefs were tasting the fragrant spicy chicken made by Xieting Jo. The whole room was filled with the rich aroma of spicy chicken, which made people drool. It can be said that the fragrant spicy chicken modified by Xieting Jo is even more attractive when the lid is opened. Moreover, the appearance of this spicy chicken is even more beautiful, golden, and with the surrounding peppers, it is full of color, fragrance, and flavor. I'll try it first. Master Wang was the first to speak. The other masters nodded and picked up their chopsticks. Recently, Xieting Jo has given them too many surprises. They all say that cooking also needs improvement. In addition to excellence in cooking, it also needs development in many aspects. For example, they in Kinmen Yugui also make milk tea. As long as someone is willing to eat it, they are willing to make it. In the 2 weeks since Xieting Jo came here, he would change almost one dish every day. Every time he changed it, it felt like there was a new dish, which made several chefs want to accept Xieting Jo as their apprentice. When the chicken enters your mouth, take a bite of the soft and tender meat, and the spicy and delicious flavor instantly fills your mouth. It is not so pungent, but you can feel the intertwining of the tenderness and spiciness of the chicken all at once. It made your scalp tingle and your eyes widened instantly. The same goes for other masters. After tasting this fragrant spicy chicken, they all showed incredible expressions. Jin Lingyun has eaten a lot of good food, but she has been really shocked by her boyfriend in the past 2 weeks, because her boyfriend can innovate a dish every day and make it more delicious, and not only he stingily taught the chef at Yugalo in Kinmen, which can be said to have shocked Jin Lingyun. She tasted the fragrant spicy chicken that had been improved by her boyfriend. The collision of the fragrant chicken and chili made her feel like her tongue was in heaven. She couldn't help but take a few more bites. It obviously felt spicy, but it's so addictive, and the rich fragrance makes it impossible to stop. Everyone around was eating, and Xieting Jo also took a few bites of the spicy chicken he made. He felt that it was indeed a recipe given by the system, and it really tasted delicious, delicious, and delicious. Recently, Xieting Jo changes a dish every day. He has changed the dishes such as Buddha jumping over the wall, spicy baked crab meat, gold medal camphor tea duck, frog double flavor turbot, etc. Every time Xieting Jo improves, the taste of these dishes will be even better. Building. It can be said that the simplest dish will become different in Xieting Jo's hands, with new innovations that will surprise everyone. Xieting Jo is the calmest about this. After all, there are thousands of recipes for the Almighty God of cooking, and these are just the simplest ones. Hey, if Grandpa taught you how to cook, he would be so happy that you are suitable to be a member of our Jin family. Look, you have only been here for 2 weeks, but you are making one dish every day, making all the master chefs suspicious. Now that I have a baby, I thought about taking you as my apprentice before, but now I think everyone wants to be your apprentice. Jin Lingyuan lamented that some people are talented in creation, just like people who create literary works. Innovation in food also requires the ingenuity of a chef, and Xie Zhou has never been exposed to such complicated dish production before. But after watching the master chefs make it and tasting it once, I was able to make an improved product that was even more delicious than what the master chefs had made for many years. It really made the master chefs of Kinmen Yugalo also like it. Devastated. Fortunately, I will write this recipe to Master Zheng today. Xie Zhou is very calm. In fact, there are very few things that top chefs need to do. They just need to make all the ingredients they have prepared according to their own ideas. Except for a small number of dishes that require techniques, they must learn knife skills and other things. Like Xie Zhou, the simple dishes are handled by the master chef below, who can just follow the recipes and make them. Therefore, Xie Zhou was not tired at all. The master chefs were busy throughout the whole process. They really like cooking. If they didn't like it, they wouldn't be able to persist on this road for so long. Tingzhou, you are really suitable to be a chef. You can bring new innovations every time. The spicy chicken you made today is really different from what I made before. If you give this one 10 points, I will give you 10 points. I can only give it 5 points, I'm so ashamed. Master Zheng also came over to talk. He really thought Xie Zhou was amazing. This was a talent given by God and no one could envy him. Master Zheng, I will give you the recipes later. What you make in the future will definitely be better than mine. I am just a layman who is interested in studying recipes, but I am not as good as you in cooking over time. Xie Zhou was very humble when he said this, and Jin Lingyuan on the side also nodded. He remembered that when he first came to their building, Jin Lingyuan was so afraid that her boyfriend's beautiful hands would be cut and splashed with oil, but in the end he didn't. I think my boyfriend is quite awesome. Well, Master Zheng, just hold the recipes. My boyfriend likes to study recipes, but he doesn't like cooking. Jin Lingyuan also said that when Master Zheng heard this, he could only sigh and thought that this talent was really wasted on Xie Zhou. If it were on the chef, then the domestic dishes would have become more prosperous. As a result, when everyone was tasting this dish and wondering why it was so delicious after being improved, someone from the front said that the Tang family was coming. Jin Lingyuan was also a little strange, but she still brought Xie Zhou out. When they arrived at the private room reserved by the Tang family, they saw the man sitting inside, and Jin Lingyuan recognized the man's identity. Master Tang, long time no see. Have you just returned from a mission? Jin Lingyuan knew that this young master of the Tang family was not only a soldier, but also went to the National SEAL base. Later, he even heard that he had performed some secret missions and received third-class merit at the age of less than 20. When preparing for the last state banquet, Jin Lingyuan saw Tang Jian in military uniform, and the stars on it were admirable. It is precisely because of this that Jin Lingyuan is willing to bow her head in front of the Tang family, not because she does not dare to offend, but because she respects the soldiers. She once went with her father to deliver supplies, so she has seen the true appearance of the soldiers, so Jin Lingyuan admires people who can protect their home and country, like Tang Jian. That's right. I got a little injured and came back to rest for a while. Isn't it better today? So I came to meet Miss Jin. Is this Miss Jin's boyfriend? He is indeed a talented person. I heard that the company opened. Yes, the man, the talent, and the woman are a match made in heaven. Tang Jian spoke very casually. The Jin family does not only open restaurants and sell wine. Jin Yulong Pure Brew is not only the national wine, but also provides some supplies to the superiors every year. Few people know about these things, and so does Tang Jian. I know it from my grandpa. Of course, things like national wine cannot be completely controlled by the Jin family, so the Jin family is not something to be trifled with. It's just that they are in business. Everyone who lowers his head and raises his head is smiling, and no one is an enemy but a friend. A military family like the Tang family should be more strict with themselves in certain matters, otherwise the emergence of a bully would be the source of the entire family's downfall. What Tang Simon did this time was not excessive, but the reason was that she used the power of the Tang family to suppress others. If she suppressed this now, who else would she want to suppress in the future? One day there will come a time when the Tang family can no longer suppress them, so what will they do then? There is also the fact that Tang Simon doesn't care about Tang Jian's injury at all, and is all about trying to please Mr. Tang, and all about fighting for power. Such a family will eventually become a piece of loose sand, and the enemy will die without a burial place at the slightest touch. This is also the reason why Mr. Tang asked Tang Jian to come over and apologize. It was just to let everyone around him see how our Tang family dealt with the disobedient younger generations. All the people in our Tang family are one and the same. The child must be sent away. Jin Lingyun also laughed. Young Master Tang has also learned to joke. What do you want from us when you come here this time? Although they had not had much contact in the past, Jin Lingyun had seen her grandfather deal with these people, so she was not timid. Xieting Zhou sat down beside him. Tang Jian then looked at the two of them and said seriously. To be honest, I came here to apologize on behalf of Tang Simon this time. I already know that my sister came to Mr. Xie. She is not sensible. We, the Tang family, can't. Grandpa specifically asked me to apologize to Miss Jin and Mr. Xie. I have prepared a few small gifts, and please forgive my sister's offense, Miss Jin and Mr. Xie. He said with a smile, but he was very sincere. Jin Lingyun did not expect that the other party would apologize for this, and was really surprised. Looking at what Master Tang said, Miss Tang was also doing it for Grandpa Tang's benefit. In fact, if my boyfriend and I could do something for Grandpa Tang, we would be happiest. The meals cooked by Xieting Zhou recently were packed and sent to Mr. Tang in the hospital. Tang Jiangxin said that if you didn't mind, you wouldn't keep delivering food. The Jin family is silent, but the Tang family can't pretend not to know. No matter how powerful you are, you can't bully others. Mr. Tang Simon has been sent to Tianshan. He will always be stationed there and will not come back again. Our Tang family is not a bully. I came here today because I also want to say thank you to Mr. Xie. Can my grandfather's condition be better? Get up, thank you sir. Xieting Zhou looked at Tang Jian in front of him and sincerely thanked him, but he didn't insist on making a fuss. He still remembered that in the memory of the original owner, Tang Jian finally died in a special mission. All his blood was for the safety of this country. All people living in peace. In the memory, the original owner lost his mind when he met a beauty like Tang Simon. He knelt down on the spot and cooked for Mr. Tang diligently, which made Tang Simon liked by Mr. Tang. Later, Tang Simon killed her mother and the child in her mother's belly. In order to gain power, she took the original owner to get close to some big men and established a network of relationships. After Tang Jian died in a special mission, the subsequent connections of the Tang family fell into Tang Simon's hands. Now Xieting Zhou just didn't kneel down to the goddess at the beginning, but Tang Simon was sent away by Mr. Tang because of bullying. Thinking of Tang Simon's words that the family favored boys over girls in the memory, and looking at Tang Jian's behavior of coming to apologize with injuries, I am afraid that none of her words are true. Mr. Tang, I don't care about these. Mr. Tang has made so many contributions to the country. I am willing to cook for him. I just happened to brew a medicinal wine recently, which is specially for the elderly. You can take it back and let Mr. Tang try it. Xieting Zhou's words can be regarded as forgiving the Tang family for what happened before. Jin Lingyun also likes to have more friends and more ways. Tang Jian is easy to get along with. After that, everyone ate and drank happily together, and even left contact information. When Tang Jian left, he took the wine given by Xieting Zhou and sent it to his grandfather. Although the old man had no appetite, he had adjusted and memorized Xieting Zhou's recipes recently. When he heard that it was Xieting Zhou's wine, he immediately asked for it to drink. As a result, in less than a month, the white hair on his head actually grew black roots, which shocked the doctor. After a detailed examination of Mr. Tang's whole body, it was found that the activity of Mr. Tang's cells was almost the same as that of young people. Oh my God! This is simply a huge medical miracle. What is going on? Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Zhanghu Buletin Jian. Chapter 118. Human youth and aging are all from cells. The human body has many cells, which die and regenerate, and then constantly repair a person's body. In fact, to put it bluntly, cells are also closely related to blood. From a certain scientific definition, fresh blood can sometimes represent fresh cells. Just like some leukemia patients, they have insufficient hematopoietic cells, which causes ischemia and physical weakness, etc., which is enough to prove the importance of blood and cells in a person's body. For retired public officials like Mr. Tang, they must have a regular physical examination every month, and then make a comparison every time, and then make targeted adjustments to drugs and medicinal diets, etc. After all, Mr. Tang is a hero who has worked hard for the country, so the above is still very careful. This time the doctor just routinely checked Mr. Tang's body, and found that Mr. Tang actually had black hair roots on his head. Not only that, when the test was conducted, the blood and cells were much more active, which is simply weird. But I found the prescription for the medicine and checked it out, it was still another prescription. There is nothing that can make human cells younger. What's going on? So the guard was constantly questioned by the hospital, and only then did he know that in addition to normal medicine, the old man's appetite had increased recently. He ate takeout from Kinmen Yugui every day, and then drank alcohol. The guard wanted to stop him, but the old man said that he was at this age and was going to die anyway. It would be better to eat and drink and die casually than to die of hunger. Therefore, they finally got the little medicinal wine left by Mr. Tang, and then took it for testing, and found that there were various medicines in it. Of course, the ones that can be detected are all tonics such as ginseng, so I don't know what other tests can't detect, but it is enough to prove that it can make Mr. Tang's body begin to recover young, which is definitely a good thing. Without taking any other medicines, this medicinal wine has conditioned Mr. Tang's body, so the blood regeneration in the body is strong, the cells increase, and black hair grows. In this case, if you take the medicinal wine for a long time, it may have the effect of prolonging life. After all, in traditional Chinese medicine, medicinal wine has such an effect, and medicinal food is also used to nourish the body for many years. So, this medicinal wine makes me younger? And my body becomes better. Grandpa Tang did not expect that he owed such a big favor to his grandson just by asking him to apologize. He was in a good mood. At this moment, Tang Jian had almost recovered from his injury and returned to the army. Therefore, Grandpa Tang called his eldest son Tang Yunhai. This Tang Yunhai is Tang Simon's father. His wife just got pregnant recently, and Tang Yunhai still pays attention to this youngest son. He did not expect this youngest son to inherit the Tang family's family business, as long as he lived healthily. Tang Yunhai saw his daughter's intrigues with other children over the years, but felt sorry for his daughter. It's not that the resources of the Tang family can't be given to girls, but Tang Simon doesn't deserve them. Her personal ability doesn't match her position. She always wants to use the name of the Tang family to suppress others. This was the case when she was in school. She didn't pass the exam and still did things behind others' backs. Or she used the name of the Tang family to suppress others. She went to the army for training for several years and looked down on those who were better than her. Unlike Tang Jian, who has been thriving in the army for these years, not only has military merits, but also leaders from top to bottom like her. This is the leader of the Tang family who doesn't seek personal gain, works hard to improve himself, and strengthens his children. Dad, I heard that you have been in better health recently. Seeing the black on his father's head, Tang Yunhai was also shocked. Then the doctor told Tang's physical condition, which shocked Tang Yunhai. He understood that their Tang family owed the Jin family a time. Last time, his daughter used power to suppress others, but they didn't care and sent such a good medicinal wine. Tang Yunhai understood the meaning of the old man asking him to come. Dad, don't worry, I will go to thank you right away, thank the Jin family and Xie Tingzhou, and I will give them what I deserve. Grandpa Tang was very satisfied to hear this, and then said, Today, I am afraid that the magical effect of this medicinal wine will also be spread. By then, whether it is the Jin family or Xie Tingzhou, they will be the favorites in everyone's heart. It is good for us to make friends in advance. Don't be as stupid as Simon, always thinking of using power to suppress others. No matter what you do, if you treat others as friends, they will treat you sincerely. Xie Tingzhou has a unique talent in food. With the support of the Jin family, there will be a bright future in the future. You just need to make a good connection, take your wife, and go to taste the recent delicious dishes of Jinmen Yugui. What a happy feeling it is for an old man to feel the strength of his body gradually recovering. Grandpa Tang is really happy. The Jin family also discovered this strange thing recently, and Xie Tingzhou's medicinal wine was also delivered to the Jin family. The first person to discover the strangeness was Jin Dexuan. After drinking the wine, he inexplicably found that he was very powerful. He hadn't been so harmonious with his wife for many years, so that his wife had to rest at home the next day, feeling very embarrassed. Jin Dexuan was very satisfied with himself. After all, people will have some problems when they reach middle age. He is so energetic now, how can he not be happy? And Mr. Jin, after drinking the medicinal wine, felt full of strength and had the energy to climb mountains. Even Gu Tingyun would drink a sip of wine brewed by Xie Tingzhou before going to bed every night. This wine can beautify and even whiten the skin. Gu Tingyun has really gained a lot of whiteness now. These medicinal wines were made when they were in Jinmen Yugui. Jinmen Yugalo is not only proficient in cooking, but also in the preparation of medicinal diets, so all kinds of medicines for the body are in it. After Xie Tingzhou followed the master chef to see it several times, he took these medicinal materials to prepare medicinal wine. The medicinal value of a jar of medicinal wine has cost at least hundreds of thousands, not to mention Xie Tingzhou's secret recipe. After he made it, he only mailed 2 jars to his family, so that the family members could drink a small sip every day. Before, everyone didn't feel anything when they drank it, but after this month, they all felt a lot. Tang Yunhai brought his wife Tan Hongyu to visit and came directly to the Jin family. Mr. Jin asked someone to invite the couple in quickly, and then they knew that they came to thank them with gifts. The Jin family took advantage of Xie Tingzhou, so they quickly called their granddaughter to bring Xie Tingzhou back. When Xie Tingzhou and Jin Lingyun arrived at the Jin family, Tang Yunhai and his wife Tan Hongyu had already had a good chat with the Jin family. Seeing the two, they praised the golden boy and jade girl, which was very enthusiastic. You are really good at food research. Not to mention that the old man likes the dishes you developed. My wife and I also feel that they are very different from before after tasting them. You are a capable person. I am really grateful for the medicinal wine. If you have any difficulties in the future, just come to me directly. I will do my best to help you solve them. Tang Yunhai made a promise, and he almost said directly that I will protect you. Xie Tingzhou remembered Tang Yunhai. Except for Tang Simon, the others in the Tang family were normal people, so Xie Tingzhou nodded directly at this time. Well, then I'll trouble Mr. Tang. He knew how much impact this medicinal wine would have after it was taken out. This medicinal wine was something that the original owner could only unlock in the later period, but Xie sold many grilled sausages and received praise from many people. He took a different route from the original owner, so the points of the almighty cook god have accumulated to hundreds of millions, so although it cost 50 million points to sell this recipe, it was worth it. Presumably, after today, some people with the same status as Mr. Tang will probably also set their sights on this medicinal wine. At that time, it will be the most natural ally. If Xie Tingzhou does not take action, it will be fine. Once he takes action, he will catch all the big guys in one fell swoop. Not to mention that some retired big guys are unwilling to admit their old age, even the richest tycoons in the world want to make themselves immortal. Xie Tingzhou's medicinal wine will not prolong people's life for many years, but if you take it for a long time, it can really make you live better in the years you are still alive and look more energetic. Even so, it is enough to make everyone excited. Sure enough, after sending the Tang family away, the people of the Jin family also understood the importance of this matter. They asked how much medicinal wine Xie Tingzhou had left, and for the first time, they expressed their sincere desire to arrange bodyguards to protect the Xie family and Xie Tingzhou. Xie Tingzhou jokingly wanted to give the recipe of the medicinal wine to the Jin family. Mr. Jin refused directly. Before, when he asked for the recipe, the chefs also wanted it, but this medicinal wine is a real weapon. How can the Jin family snatch it from the tiger's mouth? You and Lingyun are not young anymore. Let's do it this year. You can get engaged directly during the Chinese New Year. What do you think? It is not to bind the Jin family and Xie Tingzhou, but to use the title of Jin's son-in-law to protect Xie Tingzhou, who is walking on the night road with a golden baby in his arms. If this medicinal wine is spread out, I am afraid that everyone wants it. So in order to prevent anyone from taking action, it is the best way to make Xie Tingzhou a member of the Jin family, and the developer of this medicinal wine will also become a joint developer of the Jin family and Xie Tingzhou. Okay, thank you Grandpa. Xie Tingzhou agreed directly, and understood the partiality of Mr. Jin, and pulled Jin Lingyun beside him. Jin Lingyun was stunned, not knowing why the business matter turned into an engagement. In the following month, the Jin family had many guests, all of whom were dignitaries. Mr. Jin personally took Xie Tingzhou and introduced this grandson-in-law to many people. Of course, it didn't matter whether they would meet or not in the future, but at least everyone knew that Xie Tingzhou was someone the Jin family wanted to protect, and the medicinal wine Xie Tingzhou's accidental development also became a popular existence. This time, the Jin family really borrowed Xie Tingzhou's medicinal wine to go to the next level. Jin Lingyun also figured out the situation, and was embarrassed to talk about the medicinal wine with her boyfriend in private. It seems that my family has benefited a lot this time. Will you be unhappy? She hugged Xie Tingzhou and put herself in Xie Tingzhou's arms, while Xie Tingzhou lowered his head, raised the head of the little girl in his arms, and looked at her and said, "Of course I'm not unhappy. From now on, the Jin family and you, Miss Jin, are the ones that everyone wants to please. You don't have to please others. Are you happy?" At this moment, Jin Lingyun finally understood what her boyfriend meant. Her eyes lit up with surprise. She almost jumped up instinctively and almost bumped into Xie Tingzhou, but she still came over to kiss her boyfriend's lips and asked unconsciously, "You went to Jinmen Yugui to cook so many dishes for me, right?" "Yes." Xie Tingzhou answered. "You developed this medicinal wine because I tried to please Miss Tang, and it was for me, right?" Her eyes sparkled, and Xie Tingzhou lowered his head and kissed her forehead. "Yes, my miss, it was all for you." His answer made Jin Lingyun ecstatic, her heart beating uncontrollably, and then she hugged Xie Tingzhou's neck and gave him a kiss, passionate and excited. At this moment they exchanged each other's heartbeats. After the kiss, Jin Lingyun panted, leaned on Xie Tingzhou's chest, and said the sweetest complaint in the world. "Xie Tingzhou, do you know that if you do this, I will love you to death?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Jonghu Buletin. Chapter 119. The Jin family now has many guests, but it is all because of Xietingzhou. Xietingzhou, the son-in-law, trusts the Jin family very much and is willing to tell the recipe of the medicinal wine. However, it is precisely because Mr. Jin knows that this child is a good child after understanding his actions from the beginning that he is unwilling to take advantage of him. What's more, the Jin family can now communicate with these people because of these medicinal wines. I don't know how many relationships they have pulled, which is enough to take advantage. If he treats this child badly in terms of money, Mr. Jin feels guilty. Therefore, when signing the contract, Xietingzhou has the patent for medicinal wine. This patent formula is not given to the Jin family in the form of authorization to make medicinal wine. Instead, the Jin family specially selected a winery with the best management in Shangjing City and gave it directly to Xietingzhou. Xietingzhou does not need to manage it himself, but the ownership and subsequent benefits belong to Xietingzhou. In other words, the subsequent profits generated by this medicinal wine belong to Xietingzhou. The Xie family has contributed manpower and effort, and the money goes into Xietingzhou's pocket. However, Xietingzhou is now completely bound to the Jin family, and the relationship and channels must be shared. Thank you, Grandpa. Xietingzhou signed the contract and felt that the Jin family really took care of him, and Grandpa Jin was also happy and said directly, I have already announced that you and Lingyun are going to get engaged. I will start sending out invitations in a month. You can tell your parents in advance. If you need to hold a banquet in your local area, we will go back to your house to hold the banquet first, and then come to Shangjing City to hold another one. Grandpa Jin is more and more satisfied with this grandson-in-law, so he thinks about the engagement again and again. After all, most engagements and weddings now have to go to the man's home, but the Jin family has many businessmen, and it will need to be held at that time, so he wants to go back to Xietingzhou's hometown first. Well, Grandpa, don't worry. I will tell my parents about this. Xietingzhou nodded and took it to heart. Jin Lingyun, who was standing by, was naturally in a good mood and a little shy when she thought about how she was able to get engaged to her boyfriend so smoothly on her first date. Jin's father and mother also felt helpless when they saw their daughter like this. However, now that the Jin family has borrowed Xietingzhou's ability, they naturally want to tie their daughter to Xietingzhou. Fortunately, the child really has a daughter in his heart, otherwise the two of them would have mixed feelings if they saw their daughter getting engaged so early. In addition, your parents and grandfather are coming to Shangjing City, Tingzhou. We can't let the guests stay in hotels outside. What I mean is to buy 2 villas near us and transfer them to your name. Then when your relatives from your hometown come, they will live near us. For the arrangements of the engagement banquet, listen to your family first, and then discuss with my family. What do you think? Jin Dexuan also spoke up. After all, from Xietingzhou's previous behavior, it is known that this child attaches great importance to his family. Jin Dexuan also respects his future in-laws and mother-in-law. Jin Dexuan and his wife Gu Tingyun have called Xietingzhou's parents before. In fact, they didn't say much, just praised each other's children. Okay, I'll listen to my uncle. I'll tell my parents about the engagement today and let them arrange it. Xietingzhou did not refuse the arrangement of the Jin family at all, whether it was a factory or a villa. Although Xietingzhou now has a lot of personal assets, and the sausage factory has begun to expand, and now Xiang Jingshan and Niu Song are managing it, Xietingzhou never refuses any gift from the Jin family. This is also the happiest thing for the Jin family. After all, if Xietingzhou is reluctant to accept it, it means that he does not regard them as his own people. Now Xietingzhou is generous, and the Jin family is also happy to give gifts. The person who gives gifts naturally hopes that the person who receives this gift will be happy. During this period, the business of the Jin family is more extensive, and Jin Yulong Pure Brewing has ushered in a new sales peak. In fact, there are tens of billions of contracts that have been negotiated, so giving Xietingzhou 2 villas is nothing. Moreover, these 2 villas are next to the Jin family. When the time comes, the 2 families will be close, and the Jin family will be able to see their daughter Jin Lingyun at any time. This is also a win-win situation. Jin Lingyun is also happy. Knowing that her boyfriend always puts herself first, she can obviously make her own choice, but she still listens to her father and makes Jin Lingyun happy. This matter was settled, and Xietingzhou called his parents to tell them about it while resting in his room. Dad, Mom, Lingyun's grandfather wants me and Lingyun to get engaged during the Chinese New Year, what do you think? As soon as these words came out, Xie Haiming and Yulu on the other end of the phone were immediately ecstatic. Okay. Of course. Engage. Engage immediately. I love Lingyun. Xie Haiming and Yulu were so happy to hear their son's words, because they had been with Jin Lingyun before, and knew that this cute little girl was not only sensible, but also had strong working ability and could help their son in any way. The most important thing was that although the little girl was a rich lady, she respected Xie Haiming and his family very much. There was no one in the Xie family who didn't like Jin Lingyun. When she came back last time, Jin Lingyun brought gifts to everyone, which could be said to be very polite. Lingyun's family will definitely hold an engagement banquet in Shangjing City. Grandpa Jin asked me to ask you how to arrange it at home. After the arrangements are made, I will take Grandpa Jin and the others back to my hometown. Xietingzhou understood that when Mr. Jin said this, he naturally respected Xietingzhou, otherwise it would be impossible for both sides to come once. When the time comes, the marriage will definitely be the same. It will be handled once in the village and in Shangjing City. It's alright. Since they have asked, our family must also do it. This is a major event in your and Lingyun's life. At that time, let the surrounding villages set up a buffet and have fun for 3 days and 3 nights. Tingzhou, Dad is really proud of you, and everyone in the family is proud of you. If you come back to get engaged, it will definitely be great, but you should ask Lingyun what she thinks. If Lingyun doesn't want to come back, your grandfather and I can go to Shangjing City together. This is how in-laws are. If you take a step back, I will naturally take a step back. We will consider each other. Xie Haiming said this because he felt that his family was definitely not as good as Shangjing City. If it is not convenient for the Jin family, it is okay not to come. Okay, I'll ask. Xietingzhou nodded, and Yulu quickly spoke up. But you must tell Lingyun that if we hold the engagement party at home, we will also let her have a grand ceremony, and it will definitely not be embarrassing. This made Xietingzhou laugh, and he talked about the villa again. The villa that my uncle gave me is right next to the Jin family. You and Grandpa can come and live here anytime you want. When Xie Haiming and Yulu heard that their son even bought a villa, oh no, it was the Qin family that gave them a villa, they felt that this in-law was even better. Although their son was also excellent, without the support of the in-laws, their son would not have developed so well, so they were very moved, and then rejected Xietingzhou's invitation, saying that their family was busy with work now, and each of them had their own things to do. When they could no longer work, they would come to Shangjing City to live in the villa. The villagers were working hard now, and Xie Haiming was also a leader, so naturally he didn't want to leave. Listening to his parents happily sharing the current situation in the village, Xietingzhou was in a good mood. After the phone call was hung up, he took a shower and rested. He had gotten used to living in the Jin family recently. Everyone in the Jin family treated Xietingzhou as their own family. They even prepared a cloakroom for Xietingzhou, which was full of various clothes that Jin Lingyun prepared for her boyfriend. It can be said that she was very attentive. After discussing the engagement, it was mid-October. After Shangjing City entered October, the weather quickly became cold, and then everyone welcomed the first snow of the year. Goose feather-like snowflakes fell one after another. In the school's Cherry Blossom Avenue, Xie Tingzhou and Jin Lingyun, wearing black and white coats, walked on the road, admiring the snow everywhere in the sky, as romantic as the cherry blossoms they admired at the beginning. Many students were also taking pictures everywhere. Xie Tingzhou took Jin Lingyun's hand and put it in his pocket to warm Jin Lingyun. After admiring the first snow, Jin Lingyun turned her head to look at her boyfriend. Tingzhou, let's watch the first snow of every year together, okay? Always together. She never knew what shyness was. In front of Xie Tingzhou, she would always say whatever she wanted, and always expressed her love without hesitation. She said, I like you so much, Xie Tingzhou. She said, I love you so much, Xie Tingzhou. She said, what should I do if I can't live without you, Xie Tingzhou? A girl who is so outgoing in her feelings is probably irresistible to anyone, and only Xie Tingzhou can have such a passionate feeling. Only he can see the way this proud young lady is always acting coquettishly and clinging. Just like now, Jin Lingyun raised her head and looked at her boyfriend beside her, with a smile in her eyes, but it was a familiar hint between the two. Xie Tingzhou lowered his head, just like when the cherry blossoms were in full bloom, smiling gently, and lowered his head to kiss Jin Lingyun's lips. This scene was once again secretly photographed by many students who came to play, and then uploaded to the school forum. I don't know who took out the picture of the Cherry Blossom Avenue. At that time, the cherry blossoms in spring fell on the shoulders of the two people. They exchanged each other's spring days, and now the romantic first snow in winter drifted on their hair. Everyone witnessed that the two had each other's winter days again. The news spread quickly among students. Some people said that the two were about to get engaged. This was not surprising to everyone. Xie Tingzhou had successfully started a business and became a big boss. Naturally, he was worthy of the eldest lady of Kinmen Yugui. Now that lovers have finally become married, isn't it a very happy thing? The teachers of the school also quickly received the engagement invitations from Xie Tingzhou and Jin Lingyun, as well as the canned pears, handsome sausages, and a small bottle of medicinal wine that came with them. With the various wines of Kinmen Yugui, such an engagement gift would be enviable if it was posted online. In early November, Kinmen Yugalo officially released the latest news in conjunction with the handsome sausage. The latest canned snack developed by Xie Tingzhou, the canned pears, was officially launched online. Everyone is welcome to try the new product. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Zhanghu Buletin Jian. Chapter 120. The launch of Benbon Pear canned food is not just for online purchases. Jinjia's channels are unimaginable to others. After all, in addition to the top-level Jinni Yulong Pure Brew, Jinjia's winery also produces pure brews of various names, which are distributed in large supermarkets and various places across the country. Before the first promotion of Benbon Pear canned food, it was already close to the end of the year, and many customers came to stock up on wine. Chinese people like to have a drink with relatives and friends during the Chinese New Year, and wine is naturally an indispensable thing. When they come to order these wines, Jinmen Yugui will recommend Benbon Pear canned food. Most people believe in Jinmen Yugui. It sounds a bit strange for such a big brand to give you a canned food, but if you give a gift, just say, don't look at this Benbon Pear sounds cute, but this thing is a canned food produced by Jinmen Yugui. I just want to ask you, is it upscale? Previously, the wine of Kinmen Yugui was very expensive, and the lowest grade was 3,000 to 4,000 yuan per box. Now, this down-to-earth Benbon Pear canned food has 12 cans, 24 cans, and gift box packaging, priced at 89 and more than 100 respectively, which is already a very affordable price. Therefore, before the Benbon Pear officially entered the promotion period this time, Many sharp-eyed bosses had already started to stock up on Benbon pear goods, and they had already bought them in batches before Kinmen Yugui started promoting it. The first time the Jing group made canned food, because they believed in this canned pear meat, they directly opened several factories at that time, and bought pears all over the world, almost buying up the price of pears, so the price of this canned food was still maintained, 12 cans for 90 yuan, and the average price of 1 can was no more than 10 yuan. Major supermarkets actively stocked up, and canning factories were shipping crazily. I am afraid that they would have to do a lot of orders before the Chinese New Year. At the same time, the advertisement of Benbon pear canned food was officially broadcast on the internet and major TV platforms. The old man was coughing in the picture, and the cough was deafening. Then a super cute Q version pear suddenly grew black line like hands and feet, and then held the canned pear next to the old man, opened it and handed it to him. Benbon pear canned food, cough and phlegm, a good helper for the elderly and children. After the old man finished eating the canned pear, he really stopped coughing, and the old man held the pear in his palm and kissed it. It's a completely rustic advertisement. After watching it, people want to complain about this advertisement being too rustic, right? But while complaining, they also think why this pear is so magical. Why did I accept the fact that a pear can talk and walk all of a sudden? The advertisement went online that day and directly rushed to the top of the hot search. Hashtag talking stupid pear hashtag. Hashtag cough relieving and phlegm removing stupid pear hashtag. Hashtag I actually believed that a pear could talk and walk hashtag. Obviously, the second one was an ad bought by the Jing group for promotion, while the first one was everyone's real thoughts. After clicking on it, netizens complained about it, and made the stupid pear into a dynamic emoticon package, each of which was so magical. Linglong Ziwei, I just want to say, for such a rustic ad, I bought it. I can't live without this talking pear. Shenxiang, support the handsome boss of handsome grilled sausage. I also placed an order. Am I the only one who thinks this is amazing? Handsome grilled sausage is such a down-to-earth thing, and it actually married with Kinmen Yugui, so promising. I can't afford Kinmen Yugui's wine, can I also afford the stupid pear? Netizens placed orders frantically under the magical light advertisement, and in reality, the stupid pears that were originally unpopular in the supermarket finally sold well. Many netizens originally bought them for themselves to eat. After all, who can resist delicious food among today's young people? Handsome grilled sausage is so delicious, I believe this stupid pear can must be delicious too. So when netizens successfully purchased, and then opened the can and tasted the canned pear meat inside, they only felt that the pear meat was sweet and delicious, and the key was the comfortable feeling of the juice passing through the throat, which made people feel really happy after eating it. Looking at the instructions again, it actually said that there are medicinal ingredients, which can reduce phlegm and cough, clear the lungs and moisturize the lungs. Can this snack do so many things? Why do we need medicine? No one believed it at first, but a week later, the stupid pear can was on the hot search again. Hashtag stupid pear can cure bronchitis. Hashtag this hot search directly exploded. It was sent to the top of the hot search by netizens one by one. After clicking it, it turned out to be a review up host. He bought the review of Benbon pear canned food. After clicking on the video, all the up hosts were excited to thank him. Thank you so much for Benbon pear canned food. I was originally doing a review, and I bought 2 boxes of Benbon pear canned food for review. It tasted good, so I saw that it has medicinal effects. I thought about my grandma who had sputum and chronic bronchitis, so I thought about letting my grandma try it. Unexpectedly, after my grandma ate it for a few days, her chronic bronchitis really got better. No more coughing, and no more sputum at night. It's more effective than medicine. And the medicine my grandma took before was still very expensive. Now my family is planning to use Benbon pear canned food instead. Thank you Kinmen Yugui, thank you Mr. Xia of Handsome Sausage. Thank you for developing such a good canned food. Under this video, many people left messages saying that someone in their family had bronchitis, but after eating this canned pear, they got better and no longer spit. Even people with asthma felt much better after eating this can, which shocked everyone. Then the president of Shangjing Medical University and Shangjing Hospital jointly released the latest research. The video stated that they had done a series of material data analysis on canned pears, and the analysis of the condition of patients after eating canned pears showed that canned pears had an excellent effect of clearing and moistening the lungs, and could relieve cough and reduce phlegm. It is recommended that people with chronic bronchitis at home can buy and eat it. 1 can a day can solve many chronic disease problems. Not only that, for spitting and coughing after a cold, you can buy canned pears and heat them up. People directly released a list of medical analysis. Although netizens could not understand it, they felt it was impressive, so they naturally bought it, and many young people placed orders crazily. Xieting Zhou received several calls from people who failed to buy the products and had to wait in line until after the Chinese New Year. He also helped to deal with these matters. Of course, the handsome sausages are also selling well. As the Chinese New Year is coming, the handsome sausages have made new products. The second sausage product is corn sausage. The sweet combination of chicken and corn makes people want to eat it again and again. It is especially addictive. After all, you were afraid that the children would eat too much sausage before, but now you can give them corn sausages. In November, the whole country turned cold, with heavy snow everywhere. Many people caught colds, and the flu in a certain place was also serious. The children's wards were full of people. Just when the cold wind was rampant in this winter, something happened that no one expected. That is, the national central news broadcast at 7 o'clock every day praised a product for the first time in the program. This product is the canned pear. After expressing the severe cold in late winter, the host also explained that canned pears are effective in treating coughs. After the news was broadcast that day, canned pears were sold out nationwide. Many young people went out to the supermarket to buy canned pears in the middle of the night, and some ordered them online, hoping that they would arrive before the new year. This year, the country no longer prohibits people from setting off fireworks and firecrackers. By December, Shangjing City was already full of neon lights. Xieting Zhou and Jin Lingyun did not have the habit of celebrating Christmas, but celebrated the New Year with all their young friends on New Year's Eve. In the community near Jin Lingyun's villa area, fireworks in the sky kept exploding, leaving a moment of brilliance. In such a cold winter night, it is so romantic to have a loved one by your side to spend this year and usher in the new year. Jin Lingyun hid in Xieting Zhou's arms, and the two whispered. Ya Yuking and Xiang Jingshan are in love. I was shocked. Jin Lingyun was really shocked by this matter, but she knew from Ya Yuking that she really liked Xiang Jingshan, so she didn't say anything. Jin Lingyun didn't have the habit of disturbing other people's love. Well, I knew it a long time ago. The boss told me, Xieting Zhou replied. He knew about this matter, but he saw Xiang Jingshan fall in love and knew that the two of them might have real feelings. It's okay if you don't care. Anyway, I don't care. Jin Lingyun didn't say anything in the end. After all, this is someone else's business. When the time came to the countdown, when the last 30 seconds came, Jin Lingyun counted down. At the last 3, 2, 1, she tacitly saw Xieting Zhou lowered his head. This time, she didn't offer her lips as before, but suddenly pulled Xieting Zhou to the front. The fireworks were blooming, but her voice was more gorgeous than the blooming fireworks. Xieting Zhou. I like you. Xieting Zhou. I love you. Jin Lingyun loves Xieting Zhou. Only Xieting Zhou. She shouted Xieting Zhou's name loudly, expressing her love without hesitation. The young people around her looked over and couldn't help laughing when they saw it was Jin Lingyun. With her opening, Ya Yuking beside her suddenly shouted. Xiang Jingshan. I like you. This made Xiang Jingshan's face flushed, and he also shouted. Yeah, Yuking, I like you. Xie Tingzhou felt the heat coming from his palm, he smiled and hugged Jin Lingyun into his arms. I only love you too. Xie Tingzhou only loves Jin Lingyun. This was destined to be a romantic night, opening a new year and a new life for lovers. After New Year's Eve, Xie Tingzhou would take the people of the Jin family back to his hometown to get engaged.